Ah. Hello, YouTube subscribers, Patreon patrons, and my many glorious fans, followers, and supporters. This is Johnston Blackhorse, and I thought I'd just make this video just to let you all know how I'm doing. As many of you know, my sister moved out as of a week ago today, and throughout the whole week, it's been pretty tough just acclimating to her absence. And she was my biggest, I guess, moral supporter. And she is an individual I was able to confide in a whole lot and just talk um, out a lot of my stress with. And she shares many of the same ideals and thoughts as to my situation, my predicament, and um, the whole, I guess, thought process, or like what we believe is that the obscenity laws are just like just overblown bullshit. But yeah, anyways, she had to move back to Arizona just to help. I guess, well, get her own life back on her feet. Or, sorry, I'm just completely all over the place. Get back to getting her feet back from under her. My God, this video is so bad already. Jeez, just focus and just say what you have to say. Come on. All right. Yeah, she moved out because the job she had here, just working night shift at the Smart and Final, a few miles away, just wasn't cutting it. It just wasn't paying the bills, and she was just getting really overworked and overstressed, just having to deal with all that day in and day out, and not being able to concentrate on her own ambitions. And she feels that she needed to go back to her old place of employment, which was pretty happy to take her back because she was a very astounding employee. And Smart and Final was pretty sad to like see her go because she was like she's a workhorse, as many um, members of our family often are. As a part of the Black Horse blood is that all we need to do is do our best because our best is better than most, so to say, or so to speak. And um, yeah, she wanted to get back to her old job. Her old job was willing to give her old position. And what she did was make die cast aluminum parts for airplanes and such. And it paid quite a bit of money. And as of right now, she is hired back. She went and did her drug test and the safety exam and everything, and she's going to be put on 1 month employment. What's the word? Probation. And after the 1 month is up, she's going to be back to her old uh, salary or pay of $18 an hour, which is pretty good. And she's hoping that with this money and her not being um, so, let's see, what's the word? Sometimes I just forget my terminology just because I don't really have an opportunity to converse all that much. Um, she's not prone to her former vices as she was in the past, because in the past she was a chain smoker, she was a heavy drinker, and this is just among several of her other attributes, which she has overcome in the recent years and just helping me out. And in helping me out and getting to know a lot of my followers and supporters, she's grown just a lot in character. And like, well, her character was never bad. It's just like it helped her work through a lot of her vices. And some of you had become aware of her dipping back into her alcoholism recently when I was reincarcerated for my drawings. Thank you, government, dumbasses. But yeah, like she was able to um, get back on the wagon, and she's doing stronger than ever. And she's very grateful for everything that she had, I guess, learned from this experience. And we uh, owe a great debt of gratitude to each other, because not only did she help me out, she just learned a lot from about herself, just having to work through this, having to work through just helping me out in my time of need. And it helped us to grow our sibling bond a lot stronger than it ever was, because beforehand, before all this, we were just siblings in name. Like, we didn't really have much of a brother sister relationship. Like, I did help raise her as we grew up, but I was only there as like a caregiving figure. That's more or less it. And growing up, like, I kept a lot of people just really distant from me, even my close immediate family. And part of that being is that I was just struggling with a lot of the personal issues that I am now pretty much open about. And being able to be open and just willing to, or able to talk about it with like a close family member like my sister, and just not having to be, not fearing to be, or not having to fear ridicule or persecution, is just, it's very liberating. And just being able to talk to her about how I'm feeling, and emotional strife that I might be going through for any particular day, and being able to talk it through with her, and just her like being able to just tell me like I guess a different point of view and whatever. And her being my younger sister is just like really amazing to note that she is just so wise behind her, behind beyond her years. And I guess it just comes from how we grew up. We didn't grow up with much, but we grew up with each other, and we supported each other. And admittedly, we were never really there for each other emotionally, but as like a supportive family member, just making sure like we never had to go without. Like, I was always there after school to like take care of them, look after them, make sure they were fed, learn to cook from an early age, and we just supported each other that way. And she did the same for our younger siblings as well. And going through this situation with me going through prison, and just having to unload all this stuff that I've been keeping bottled up for years, and having someone there with a very open mindset, and a tolerant individual, just willing to hear me out and just analyze everything that I'm saying, and just take everything in all of its actuality, instead of just jumping to conclusions and persecuting me as so many other people might do. It was just it just helped us grow together as a brother and sister. That it made that bond much stronger. And just knowing that a lot of the strife that I went through as a child is something that she also experienced through other family members, is just something that none of us ever knew of the other. And just being able to talk about our childhood incidences, and being able to unload that burden onto each other, just like find that even though we were we grew up together, is that we had no idea that our lives were so mirrored. And it's just it was just a wonderful feeling to like know that there was someone just like me always there. And I, if only I had taken the time to just open up, like, I think we would have had this strong bond a lot sooner. But it is what it is, and we're glad that we have this bond now. And we're just so grateful to all the fans and supporters out there who have been following along with my adventure, my struggle, and just kept cheering us on. And that has given rise to this hope that there is a possible um, um, endeavor to strive for like a more tolerant mindset in the future, to be more accepting of this situation, and just not be so quick to ridicule or the overbearing mindset that a lot of people seem to harbor. And one of the hard things about my sister moving out is that the first few days I just felt so isolated and alone. And not being able to have that ear to talk to, that shoulder to cry on, was just really, really difficult to deal with. And it, for the first few days, all I did was just sleep a lot, and not wanting to have to deal with like this waking life and just delve into sleep where I don't have to deal with my issues is just something I just went through for the first few days. And then after a while, like in the most recent days, just having to have to like pull up my bootstraps and just forcing myself to acclimate to this absence of this wonderful individual in my life. And it was sad that when she left, and she does want to come back, but she really needs to go out and just find her own footholds, and just make sure she can support herself. And she's gratefully we're grateful that she was able to do that um, with her old place of employment. And thankfully, like, none, she's not the one to burn any bridges or anything. And they were sad to see her go, but now they're just so glad to have her back. And um, that's one of the blessings that we're very grateful for. And hopefully someday, once she can earn enough money to finally get her own place and start working on her own ambitions. Some of her ambitions are very artistic, creative, and she is a brilliant writer. And hopefully, she will the uh, take the chance and like maybe open her own Patreon and start sharing some of her own writings, poems, and stories. And she's sharing. Don't know how to talk right now. It's just so freaking difficult. She's shared several of her writings with me, and she posts a lot of them on Facebook. And I gotta admit, like, some of her writing is just very powerful, very emotional, and just strikes a chord just deep down inside of you. And it's one of those rare things to like just be able to assemble a set amount of words and just have them bear so much impact. And I do hope she takes upon herself very soon to gather up some of these writings and start posting them on a Patreon account so that she can start sharing them with the world. And one of her other ambitions is to become a public speaker, motivational speaker. And I believe through her recent um, growth in her capabilities in helping people deal with their stress, she's able to do that, because that's one thing that she can. Well, she's very powerful at, is that she is very astute in um, what's the word? Not clairvoyant. I guess in a way it is. It's somewhat of a clairvoyant apathy. In a way, she is able to detect what other people are feeling, and she's able to absorb that like a sponge, and just pull that out of people. And she's had just random people off the street just like bump into her, and they'll start a conversation, and then all of a sudden they're pouring out their like entire life story of like their stress and their burden, and just like sharing it with her, even though they just met. And like somehow, like through that interaction, like these people have this huge burden lifted off their shoulder, and then they thank her for just being that person to just uh, listen to that strife. And she does also give out advice on what to or like how to handle it. But first and foremost, just being an ear to listen to like the troubles you're going through is just one of those things that she's very well adept at doing, very capable at doing. And she's been able to help a lot of like friends and family members through like severe stressful moments in their lives. Their I guess cataclysmic life events, which throw like many people off the rails. But somehow, in some way, she's able to detect when these people are going through these major life changing events. And often she's able to reach out to these people just at that precipice or that zenith point where they're at their, I guess, well, wouldn't be a zenith point because that's like a high point, but she's able to reach out to these people when they're at their absolute lowest point in their life. And in doing so, it's like they're able to, I guess, unload that burden. And sometimes, like, she'll get a thought or mental image of a person in her head that she knows, and then lo and behold, they'll contact her shortly thereafter and just reveal that there had been some sort of bad news or bad event that had taken place. But yeah, she wants to steer this ability, this empathic ability she has toward motivational speaking. And I think she's just right for that. But first and foremost, after helping me out, she has to get her life back on track and just be able to support herself. And she does still plan to help me by supplementing my income. And I we we thank the current followers and supporters for all the help and supportive um, words and emotional support that they provided both of us. And it just makes us feel that we're not so very alone. And that's one of the, I think, things that are most important right now, especially in my life. In uh, coming back to getting back to work and stuff. Right now, I'm just working on several sketches, but the first week, I have to admit, was pretty hard. Just having that isolation and that loneliness just hit me so hard, and it hit even more because uh, the night before she had left, my roommate, drunk as he was, we got into a bit of a discussion or debate, and in that debate, that that drunken debate, if it can be called, he had revealed to me that he had been harboring many of the overbearing stigma that I had always been afraid of encountering. And some of the stigma that he harbors is that just because I enjoy drawing lolicon or am the lowly artist and underscore 01, like he automatically assumes that um, any young person around me is prone to being sexualized by me in some way. And he accused me of like sexualizing, well, pretty much accused me of sexualizing my younger siblings and other relatives. And it's just so not the case. And this is one of the stigmas that I've been trying to overcome and just dispel in my recent endeavors of just being so open about who I am and what it is and who I am and what it is I do and what I like as an individual, and just knowing that he is of that mindset now is just it just made me feel that much more alone. And I just feel I have to like air out these fears and frustrations just so again like people can be aware of the burden and just know that even though like it gets hard, like I I'm just not going to give up. And he he's one of those people that agrees that obscenity shouldn't be governed by Congress or the government, that it should be up to any individual or whatever, but and shouldn't be criminalized. But he believes full-heartedly that I shouldn't be drawing that stuff, and that it's just so contradictive. I mean, me as an artist, like I feel like I'm okay to draw whatever it is I want to draw, just so long as I don't have any person that I'm referencing, or like there's no like live models in front of me to pose or whatever. And I've never needed that because I'm just so I guess learned in all these anatomy books and muscle structure and everything that I can just draw any um, character out off the top of my head in any pose I want and just any graphic situation that I can think of. And I should just be free to do that because there is no victims involved. But for some reason, like people do agree that it shouldn't be governed by the law or anything. But the people who know me just want me to just put that all away, just stop drawing it. And it's like I don't feel like I need to. And it's one of those things like say just coming out of the closet with this pedophilia art and everything is just they agree that it shouldn't be governed by the law, but they want me to push it back in the closet. And it's like what's the point of that? It's like I'd be not only lying to myself but lying to everybody again, like out there, like when I was just secretly natus_01 drawing all this pedophilia art. And I don't want to go back to that. I want to be open about who I am, what it is I do, what it is I like, and just be free to just draw whatever I want to draw. Just as long as there is no one being harmed with it, and like there are no victims at all. And it's not like I'm going out in the street and forcing people to view my art. No, like I release my artwork on particular websites geared to this specific genre. If you don't want to see it, then don't look for it. Plain and simple. And it's just very frustrating that I now know I live with one of these people who just want me to go back in the closet after coming out, and he put it on me. Um, and it was I know it's not true, but it was just tough to hear or just like know that he believes it, that he was under the erroneous belief that my sister is leaving because of my pedophilia art and my status as a registered sex offender. And it's one of those tactics that have been used on me several times. It's like it's a shaming tactic. It's like you should be ashamed of who you are and what you're doing. You should not draw that material and just like put it away and never talk about it again. No, it's like that shouldn't be the case. And I'm not trying to make this as public as it is because like I don't need my artwork to be public because it should only be viewed by like-minded individuals who should have the liberty to view that artwork if they want to. And in no way am I trying to just force my artwork into the public eye. And the only thing I'm trying to make people aware of is the unconstitutional situation that I find myself in right now. And it's just so frustrating that people do believe it's unconstitutional, but yet they want me to go back in the closet. It's just like, I hope you can understand and see the contradiction that lies within that. And I just want to be free to be who I am and just draw what I want to draw because that's all I want to do. And living with someone who is under the erroneous belief that I'm out there sexualizing like family members, or I'm at risk of sexualizing like other children around me, it's so wrong. It's just um, grossly erroneous, and I'm not like not like that at all. And I just wish people would, I guess, not jump to so many conclusions because it's a hard argument to deal with when you're dealing with someone of that mindset. It's like it's like you're trying to argue for one thing, but then they overshoot that and just like think, oh, well, you're obviously for well, obviously you want to legalize child pornography, and it's like, no, that's not the case at all. I just don't think obscenity, fictional obscenity, should be criminalized. That's it. And it's hard to find some common ground when like irrational mindsets keep overshooting like what it is you're trying to convey. It's a very frustrating thing, and I just when arguing with my roommate on that, like I just couldn't get a word in edgewise, and he kept shooting back to the whole um, fact that he has a daughter, and like I don't see what his daughter has to do with anything in this situation, because I'm not out there like sexualizing people's daughters. I'm not going out there and like asking like, hey, can I borrow like an image of your daughter so I can draw her in lewd poses? No, that's just completely not not right. It's just way out of left field, and that's not what I'm about at all. And the only, and it's just really frustrating and difficult to um, make people understand where I'm coming from when they just have this preconceived notion of you already. And that preconceived notion, erroneous as it is, as baseless as it as factless as it is just stuck in their mind, and there is no way you can dislodge it. And just trying to attempt to elaborate on how false that preconceived notion is, that stigma is, it's just it's trying to it's like you're trying to convince religious people that God doesn't exist. And uh, man, it's just so hard to elaborate on this one. Like no one around you wants to listen to logic or reason, especially the courts. Oh God. And the courts is another thing. Like it's like they are free to assume anything about you that they want, and just rule in favor of their erroneous beliefs based on no evidence whatsoever. And it's up to you to disprove that erroneous belief. And it's hard to um, disprove a factless belief when you don't need facts in order to do so. It's, I don't know, it's like a hard circular logic that I keep finding myself in, and hard to disprove something that doesn't that people didn't require proof in order to believe in the first place, is just like very difficult. But hey, I'm still trying, because like this is something I really do believe that I need to fight for my right to just draw whatever obscene image that I want to draw, as long as it's victimless. Like it shouldn't matter, because like if I don't fight for this, no one else is going to fight for it for me. And as far as I know, the appeal process is still going through, and I'll keep you guys up to date on how that's going. But anyway, I just wanted to make a quick video and let you guys know how I'm doing. And after a week, my sister being gone, like I'm doing a bit better, and she does text me. We text each other back and forth, um, and just make sure each other's doing all right. And thanks to the other fans and supporters that have reached out to me to be that moral support, and I really do appreciate it. I would give them shout outs, but I don't know if they want to be associated with me in that way. But thanks to you guys a lot, and it really does make me feel not so alone. And I really do appreciate it. And you guys are amazing and awesome. And just, I'm glad I know that there are like minded people out there who are very tolerant and open minded, and just realize that what it is I'm going through is just so much bull crap, is just so difficult to explain. Oh, and that's another thing too. Like I have some good news about my sex offender treatment. My uh, caseworker there also believes that I don't need to be there. because like I was straight up with like, hey, I draw like pedophilia content, but it's fictional pedophilia content based on just images in my head, and I'm okay with this. I don't need to. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with it, and I'm okay that just the fact that drawing this type of content technically makes me a pedophile, but even though that's part of my sexuality, that's not like what makes that's not what makes like all of me. It's just a part of who I am. And just being able to have this discussion with her like every so often. We had a lot of back and forths before I went to back to prison for drawing porn or pedophilia or whatever. And coming back out again, like she seems to be of a more tolerant mindset. And I don't know like what's changing recently. Maybe it's because I'm being so open about this whole issue, this whole topic, that I'm slowly but surely, maybe systematically, like dispelling a lot of the stigma that people have about this whole concept of pedophilia versus child pornography and everything. Because I don't think like just making it clear that child pornography should not be legalized, but pedophilia should not be so criminalized, especially if it's I'm pretty much talking about fictional pedophilia. And that's a topic of discussion that me and my sex offender treatment counselor have been having back and forth for like the last several treatment sessions. And then, she's come to the conclusion that there's really nothing that she can do about pedophilia because it's being acknowledged as a form of sexuality, and trying to fix the sexuality is like, just more or less the same equivalent of trying to pray the gay away, and it's really not going to fix it. And the only way to, I guess, deal with it is if the person, like, if I wanted to fix it, like I could probably fix it myself. But I'm okay with it because pedophilia has been a part of me like for a major part of my life. Like I'd have to assume, just like not assume, but just it's been there for a long time now. And dealing with this, it wasn't like dealing with my alcoholism, because alcoholism was like a recent crutch that I had acquired throughout the years in order to deal with several stressors in my life: stress at work, relationship stress, and just hiding this whole pedophilia aspect of myself. But now that going through drug treatment sessions for my alcoholism, I've come into knowing that dealing with my stressors head on instead of just drowning out with booze is not the way to go. Or, I mean, drowning it out with booze is not the way to go, and it's better to just deal with your issues head on. And dealing with many of my issues head on, like work and relationships, just more or less went out the window when this case took place. But dealing with my pedophilia, I realized that it's something that I just have to accept about myself. And as long as I can accept it and know that it's there, I can easily control it. And just being open about it and having other people be aware just helps me, um, I guess, in a way, just helps me accept it more, especially if those other people are able to accept it. Oh, and shout out to another old acquaintance of mine who, like, well, another old friend of mine. We had lost track a long time ago, and she's just now gotten back in touch with me after coming to find out what's going on with me through my blog. And she took it upon herself to reach out and just like be there to just be moral, just be moral support. And she is of the same mindset that what I'm going through is just bullcrap. And big thanks to her for just willing to just continue to talk to me. And it's just very heartwarming to know that there are just still people in my life, because I know that a lot of people in my situation don't have that. I mean, they're abandoned by their friends, coworkers, family members. A lot of them just leave them in prison to rot. And there are a lot of people out there that don't have anyone. And I am one of the lucky few that still has family, that still has friends. And I'm very, very thankful and grateful for that. And I hope to the people out there who are also like dealing or struggling with their pedophilia, that they can know that it's not the end of the road. And I hope, in a way, like I can inspire them to just, I guess, maybe take that first step in coming out, or just like, I guess, come to terms with your pedophilia, and just know that together, I guess, if we continue to dispel all the stigma and the erroneous preconceived notions of pedophilia and what pedophiles are, what they're capable of, we can seek a more tolerant future and a better way to deal with people who are afflicted or affected by pedophilia. And thanks to all those who are of that mindset and who still support us and everything. And just, I'm just very grateful. And my sister is very grateful as well. And thanks to all those fans, supporters, and old friends who stuck with me, who are just still rooting for me and just make me feel that I'm not so alone anymore. And yeah, I guess that's it. I think I might have went off on a little tangent back there, and I can't remember what point I was trying to make. Hmm. Oh, treatment. Yeah. Let me just wrap that up real quick. Yeah, that my counselor believes that I just don't need to be there because there's really nothing she can do, because she can't make someone just change their sexuality like that. And my PO wanted me to go like every week, but like people who work in law enforcement and in the courts just don't know the whole psychology behind like everything. They just think like, oh, send them to treatment, that'll stop the pedophilia. That's why my judge sent me to treatment this time in the first place. Is like, well, drug treatment worked for your alcoholism, so sex offender treatment should work for your pedophilia. So just allow the treatment to work, and like you should be cured of it. Blah blah blah, this and that. Gavel bang, click, and we were out. It was like I could hardly understand or like believe what it is that I was hearing. It was like, you can't really be that ignorant, can you? But unfortunately, like learning the hard way, there is no logic or reason in the court system whatsoever. And me and my counselor are working on this idea to show the court that I don't need treatment, because treatment does not fix pedophilia. Now, I admit, like, a treatment could be very beneficial for those people who can't control themselves, who have a severe addiction to pornography, or who have a addiction to, I guess, going hands-on with a victim, or molesting, or groping, or just, I guess, raping people. Like, if those for those people who can't help themselves, treatment is could, like, is probably very beneficial for them. But as for someone like me who doesn't uh, doesn't have a hands-on case and who's comfortable with their pedophilia, there's really nothing treatment can actually do. So as it stands right now, like as far as treatment goes, I'm just required to go every other week. But my counselor is trying to see if we can get it a lot less than that, and maybe possibly just get me off treatment altogether. Because everyone working in law enforcement or in the courts are under this erroneous belief that treatment can cure me of pedophilia, but that is just not correct at all. And I guess it's the same mindset that makes people believe like prison is some sort of like cure all for any sort of like devious or criminal behavior. But that's, I think we all know that that is bullcrap because when you're surrounded by other negative influences in that negative environment, you just learn like other ways that to commit crime and other heinous acts and everything, and just there's just so much bad influence there, and the only way you can leave prison on a positive light is that that individual, that prisoner, must take it upon himself to better himself, to get himself out of that environment. Because by sticking someone in prison just thinking that it'll fix them is just bullcrap. He's just total bullcrap. Man. But anyway, I think this rant has gone on long enough, and just want to let people know where my mind is at, and I am feeling better after this whole week, and did get that good news from treatment from my case, my counselor just saying that I just don't need to, I don't need treatment at all, and I'm hoping that my appeal goes through and that I can effectively just squash this stupid obscenity law once and for all. Well, I can understand where like this obscenity law makes sense in the fact that obscenity that deals with like actual minors being utilized in the production of obscene artwork. Like, hey, yeah, like there you go. That's where that law works. But when these obscenity laws attack fictional artwork that is totally based on imagination, is just very unconstitutional. And I think I'm one of the first people to, well, I guess one of the few people to try to like get this stupid thing overturned. But anyway, uh, thank you again for your time, your support, and hopefully you'll continue to follow me, and just together we can strive for a better future and work toward a better, more tolerant, open-minded tomorrow. Sorry for the stupid voices, just something I do every now and then, and I don't think I do it as often as I should in the videos I produce. I should do more voices in my videos, especially if I begin to start animating them, which I'm hoping to do in the near future. Yeah, that would be great. But anyway, yes, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.